Hey guys, and welcome to art class. We're getting close to the end of the year, so I decided to pick a project that reminds me of summer because it's about the ocean. Now, if you're like me, you love looking at what happens underwater, like going to an aquarium. Maybe you went to SeaWorld, perhaps, or maybe you like to look at books about the ocean. I know that's always one of my favorite things to do with my kids is to pick out books about the ocean, or if we're traveling somewhere to find the local aquarium and go to it. We, as a family, love going to aquariums. And so when I picked out this project, I did so because I liked the idea of seeing what was going on under the surface of the water. Now, a few weeks ago, we did a project about a pond, and we looked underneath the pond. So this is kind of similar to that idea, except that it's much more simple, and we're just focusing on a whale. Now, let's talk about the whales a little bit, because I think this part is super interesting. In your packets, I included three different types of whales. The blue whale, and there's one of a California gray whale, and then there's a humpback whale. And the one that I picked out was the humpback whale, as you can see. And there's little descriptions at the bottom of each sheet that are very interesting. And I'm just going to go over a few things that I researched when I was doing this. Some of them are mentioned on the papers I gave you and some aren't. I would encourage you to look into these different whales because it's so interesting. Now, a baleen whale is a type of whale that has kind of a filter in its mouth. They do not have any teeth. Some whales do, but baleen whales have this material in their mouth that are tiny strands that filter out the seawater that they take in, and they filter them for krill. And krill is this shrimp-like organism. They're very small that feeds baleen whales. Now, krill is so tiny that during peak feeding season, a large blue whale is estimated to eat up to 8,000 pounds of krill a day. Now, krill is so tiny, you kind of think, how many krill does it take to make up 8,000 pounds? And the answer to that is about 40 million krill a day. Now, I've always thought this is interesting. I've read this before, that a giant whale, like a blue whale, and a blue whale is the largest animal on the face of the earth, is fed by millions of tiny organisms, that God set it up like that. Not these huge fish that it might eat, but millions of tiny organisms sustain this massive, huge mammal, a blue whale. So the blue whale is the biggest of the three types of whales I gave you. It can grow up to 100 feet long. It is the largest animal on the earth. And the next one I think I gave you was the California gray whale. Now it's still huge. It can grow up to about 52 feet long. They have a long lifespan. They live about 50 years. And then the humpback whale, and the humpback whale lives all over the world. They're also about 50 feet long. They have long fins, and you can see that right here. And they have a long fluked tail fin that I included in this. And you can see on your pictures the difference in the fins and tail fins of the different fish. I thought this was interesting about the blue whale. The blue whale, when you look at a picture of one, in comparison to how long the blue whale is, the fins actually look pretty small. But the tail fins of a blue whale are both each about 10 feet long, so they're actually very big. So those are just a few facts about them. Another reason I picked this project, in keeping with our theme of America, during about, I think it was April through the summer, off the coast of California, you can see these three types of whales passing through the waters. And that's because in the cool months, they travel down to Mexico, near the waters off of Mexico, where the waters are warmer. And then in the summer, the spring and summer, they make their return past California, going up the west coast into Canada, the waters off of Canada. So if you were in California during those months, you might be able to see some of these groups of whales traveling, migrating. So anyways, some cool facts about whales. Now, drawing this whale and doing this painting is really very simple. All you need is pencil. It would be nice to have a longer sheet of paper, but of course you just want to make work whatever you have. At school, if we would have been in school together, I would have given you a really long sheet of watercolor paper, which is what I drew this on, and we would have done this project with acrylic paints. I realize some of you probably don't have acrylic paints, so you just adjust this project to your supplies. If what you have is watercolor, that will work fine. If I was doing this project in watercolor, I would definitely outline my whale so that I would see the different features that your packet shows you of the whale. See the outline of the eye. Some of them have the blowhole and just the different, I think the California gray whale, it actually has like mottling on it that are parasites, but it gives it that gray color, so you might want to include that when you were drawing it. Now, I'm going to tell you how to draw this or paint this picture with acrylic paints because that's what we would have used at school, and it's what I used. But don't be intimidated if you don't have it. Now, when you go to draw this, you want first off to take your pencil and you want to mark a horizon line. And we've talked about that before, what a horizon line is. That's simply where the sky meets either your land, your sea, whatever. It's going to be your horizon line right here. And here, all we have going on is our sky and our sea. So it's very simple. And that needs to be up here. Maybe the top fourth of your picture is sky. We want the focus of your picture to be what is going on underneath the surface in the huge whale. So most of your picture is going to be the water. After you do that, you could tilt your picture horizontally if you would like to draw your whale like that and follow the drawing guides that I gave you. I didn't do that. I chose to draw mine vertically because I thought that was easier, but you could do that. That might be a tip to help you if you would like. And this is a very easy drawing. All these whales are super easy to draw. If you've never drawn a whale before, it might take you a couple times to get it, but they're very basic shapes, so I think you will have no problem drawing one. Now, after you do that, if you have acrylic paint, this is a super simple painting to do. It just involves a value, some light tints, and then dark shades of blue going down. And that kind of gives you the illusion that your water has depth, because up here at the surface, you've got a really light value of blue. It's a tint because it's mixed with white. And that was the first area I painted on this picture. I took white acrylic paint and a light blue, and I mixed them together, and I just applied that to the top up here. Got a really nice light blue value going on. And then I took, as I came down, I started off with a little bit of a darker blue and less white, continued still a lighter value down. And then as I continued to go down into the depths of this water, I would pick a darker blue and adjust the color all the way to where I got down at the very bottom of the picture. We're talking about pretty deep water. I actually took a darker blue and mixed it with a little bit of black to create a shade. And we were going in class to talk about tints and shades. And a tint is created where you take a color and you mix it with white. A shade is created when you take a color and mix it with black. So down here at the bottom, we have a shade. It's got quite a bit of black going on down here. So it's kind of a fun lesson on color mixing and seeing the different shades and tints you can get by adjusting the white and black in your picture. So it created a nice little gradient value of blue, and then I painted my sky. Of course, you could paint your sky any way you would like. I just like the contrast of kind of like that peachy, orangey, coral pink color against blue. So I made a sunset type of sky. The suns just went down and you can see the traces of it. Then I added some of those colors to the top of the water, just dotted the top of my water for reflection. The last thing I did was color my whale. Now, here we're also talking kind of about tints and shades. I, on my palette, mixed up some white and black. I made like a nice light gray. Up here at the top, I added more white, kind of creating like a light tint. And then here at the bottom of my gray color, the bottom of this whale, I added more black, creating a shade and shaded down here, kind of the more shadowy parts. I went around and outlined much of it, of the whale, in black. I wanted to do that because since I painted this in acrylic, I still wanted my whale to pop out, and I didn't want to lose the edges. Didn't want to use a Sharpie for that, so I took a small brush and outlined the whale with black. And I also added some of the bumps on this humpback whale in with black. Some of the shadowing on the fins, just with black. Just added them here and there. So there you have it. Super simple picture of a whale of your choice under the surface of the water. Now you can adjust this picture any way you would like. Some of you may want to make a cool fishing boat on this picture. Maybe you want to show the contrast of what it would look like if a sailboat or fishing boat was up here and then this huge whale was under the water. I've always thought about that, what that would be like if you're out on the water and, you know, just a normal boat, a sailboat, and then a huge whale goes by. How small your boat is in comparison to how big a blue whale might be. Maybe you would like to put some seaweed or other kind of like ocean life down here. Maybe you'd like to compare how big a whale is to other sea life. So maybe you might have a tiny little turtle or tiny jellyfish or something down here floating around, contrasting with this huge size of a whale. Maybe your whale's caught in a net or something. Or maybe you can have like a scuba diver who would be tiny compared to this whale going and exploring this whale. I don't know. Totally up to you. You know, as I already said, make sure that you adjust this to whatever you have at home. You do not have to use acrylic paints. You could simply use pencil paper, colored pencils if that's all you have. But it would be cool if you did that to try to create a depth of color to show the light at the top layer and the dark water beneath. And you could achieve that just layering colored pencils. Anyways, I hope that you have fun doing this. I'm very proud of you all. I was really overwhelmed this week by all the artwork I received. So many of you are still doing this at home, and I'm very proud of you. I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye.